Okay, so it says in a homeroom of 20 students, 15 take math and 12 take social, and 10 take math and social. Show this information on a Venn diagram. Okay, so Venn diagram, this one has 2 circles on it. So you just label one M for math and one S for social. Okay. So when you fill the numbers into a Venn diagram, you don't just plunk the numbers from the question into the circles. You have to do a little subtraction. So when you're working with Venns, this section right here, this is where we start. And what that represents, it represents the intersection, or in this case, math and social. Okay. So how many kids are taking math and social? 10. Okay. Now, if we look at the question, it says 15 are taking math. So what that means, so 15 are taking math, that means this entire circle has to add up to 15. So since I already have a 10 there, what goes here? 5. What 5 represents? These are the kids that are only taking math. Or in other words, they're taking math but not social. Okay, good. Yep. So how many are taking social? 12. Well, you've already got the 10 written there. So how many are only taking social? 2. So everything in that circle has to equal 12. Everything in the other circle has to equal 15. So again, this represents the kids that are only taking social. Or in other words, social, not math. Now, how many kids were in the homeroom? 20. So the universal set is the 20 kids. Now, why is that important? Because if you take these 3 numbers and add them, what's 10 plus 5 plus 2? 17. The universal set has 20 kids in it, so this means that there's 3 kids who are taking neither social or math. Maybe they're taking LA or shop or whatever, but they're not taking social math. So the question is, how many students take neither? So the answer would be 3. So you start in the middle, you subtract as you make your way out. Okay? But you always start in the overlap and you work your way out. Always. So what might a diploma exam question be for this? It might very well be this exact question. How many take neither math or social? The other way they could give you the question is they could say, here's a scenario, and the A, B, C, D is which is the correct Venn diagram showing this scenario, right? So it's just a matter of just filling it in. But when we put context to it and when we draw it as a Venn diagram, like essentially what I'm saying is math and social is 10. Math or social is 5 plus 10 plus 2. So this means and, this means or. This is overlap. This is everything. Okay, this is not math or social. So this is the 3. So we can word the question with words, shockingly, word the question with words, or we can word the question with symbols. Now clearly the words are easier than the symbols. Okay, and on the diploma that I saw in January, it was given to you with words. But does that mean they couldn't possibly give it to you as symbols? It's fair game. I just didn't see it on this diploma. Okay, so the key takeaways are start in the middle, subtract as you work out, make sure you pay attention to the universal set because that will tell you any number that doesn't belong to anything. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy. So don't freak out with all the words. Okay, like it looks horrible, but just start just start reading. So in a survey of 400 households, so my universal set is 400. Okay. 285 have personal video recorders, PVRs. 320 had multifunction printers, MFPs, and 63 did not have a PVR or an MFP. So P is standing for PVR, M is standing for MVP. Okay. Let X represent the number of households that have both. So this right here, this both, that's where your X goes because you don't know what that number is. So when we go back to here, I knew that this whole circle added to 15. So I went 15 minus 10 to get 5. So what we're going to do with this one is we know this whole circle is 285. So I'm going to write 285 minus X. For the MFPs, it's 320. So I'm going to write 320 minus X. And I also know that 63 have neither. Now, let's go back to the last question. If I go 5 plus 10 plus 2 plus 3, what am I guaranteed to get out? 20, because I've taken care of everything. So all we're going to do is we're going to do that exact same thing, but with the algebra. So we're going to go 285 minus X plus 320 minus X plus 63 has to give us our universal set or our total. And you are literally right back to grade 8. You're solving for X. The key is you have to start on the inside overlap and then you work your way out subtracting as you go and then realize that everything has to add to give you the universal. So let's just go ahead and solve this thing. I have a minus X and a plus X. So what is going to happen with these two? Cancel out. Okay. So if somebody just wants to whip out their calculator. So go 285 plus 320 plus 63. What do you get? 605. Okay. Sounds about right. So 285 plus 320 plus 63. Oh, yeah, I need the 63. So what do you get? Okay. Still seems right. Okay, so now I'm going to minus 668 from both sides. So I've got negative X equals negative 268. So if negative X equals negative 268, then positive X will equal positive 268. So what does that represent? This is the number of people that have both. This is the number of people that have the printer and the PVR. So is there a teensy bit of algebra in this unit? Yes. I kind of lied when I said the algebra was done. But I don't really count this as hardcore algebra. Like, we're not factoring here, okay? And here's the beautiful part about set theory and Venn diagrams. Every one of them has the exact same equation. The first circle bit plus the overlap plus the next circle bit plus the outside is your total. They're all done the same way. I'm just going to be chucking different numbers at you. That's it. Okay. Okay. I handed out this sheet yesterday. There was 2 questions on it. Okay. So, just a thing about the diploma. All work must be done outside the Venn diagram. So, for example, if I were to, on this actual thing here, if I were to go and write this plus this equals 400. 668 minus x equals 400. X equals 268. I would lose marks on the long answer. Even though it's all correct, you have to keep all your work off of the Venn. Now, if you're not able to do that, if you do end up putting all your work on the Venn, because it is handy to put it on the Venn because that's where the numbers are, that's where the information is. If you happen to put all your work on the Venn, you remember in middle school, they always made you do a final statement, like therefore there are 27 watermelons and 17 oranges, right? Or whatever it is. What you want to do is if you do mess up your Venn diagram, like if you put a whole bunch of work on there, make sure that you do as a final step, make a clean Venn diagram just with all the numbers, essentially with all the answers on it, with no work. They have been taking 1 mark off out of 5. So on the long answer question, so each of your two long answer questions will have 5 parts. Okay. If one of those parts is solving a Venn diagram and you put all the work on that Venn diagram, even if it's 100% correct, they will still take off a mark. It's ridiculous. My job is not to say this is totally fair because that's BS. Because if you can do it, you can do it. It shouldn't be a matter of where you put your work. But they are sticklers on it, so it is what it is. So it says in a certain clown college, enrollment of 21 students. So there's your universal set. Okay. Every student must take one or both of the entry-level courses. 11 take Pie in the Face 101 and 18 take Pulling Quarter Out of Ear 101. How many take both? So if you look at your Venn, we've got Pie in Face and Pulling Quarter. So we know that our universal set is 21 students. We want to know how many take both. So the X would go there in the middle. So 11 are taking Pie in the Face. So this would be 11 minus X. This one's 18. So this one would be 18 minus X. Just as a thing here, do you understand that the biggest X you can have is 10? Like what if you got X to equal 15? Would that be an issue? Because 18 minus 15 is fine, but is 11 minus 15 okay? No, you can't have negative people. So if you look at this, the biggest X can be would be 10, because 11 minus 10 would still put 1 person here, and 18 minus 10 would put 8 people there. So do think of the reasonableness of your answer. Don't just write down a random number. Did it say how many? Every student must take one or the other or both. Okay, so this statement right here, what that means is you have 0 taking neither, right? Because everybody's got to take at least one. So that's what I mean by leave your Venn diagram like that. Now do all your work off to the side. So we're going to add up all of our shapes. You don't have to go plus 0 if you don't want, but you can if you want to. And that equals 21 students. Now you're going to notice something really, really cool with this algebra. What do you notice with these first two x's? They cancel off. And that's going to happen every single time. Because if you're starting here in the middle, you're always going to have minus then plus, right? They're always going to cancel out. So that's 29 minus x equals 21. So what take away from 29 gives you 21? 8. So how many take both? 8. Okay. Now, do you understand that there's a whole bunch of questions I could ask you here? I could say, how many take both? 8. I could say, how many took only Pie in the Face? 3. How many only took Pulling Quarter Out of Ear? 10. So we could ask you any of those questions. I'm just focusing on the both piece because that's just what we're talking about right now. Are you getting the gist of this? So in this unit, problem solving is actually our friend because the answers have to make sense based on the context that we're in. So what I would do is, like, this is like, leave that with the x's, and then that would be the answer. So x take both. If you wanted to write it on the Venn diagram, you would go 8, 3, and 10, and then maybe do something like that and write both. So that they knew, so that you're communicating to them that you know which the answer is. Yeah. Okay. But what you don't want to do is exactly what I did here. See how I put that work on the Venn diagram? You don't want to do that. If you do, make sure you write out a clean Venn diagram at the end. Okay. Okay. Try this one on your own. Okay. 17 students are on the juggling team. 8 juggle bowling pins. 5 juggle bowling pins and torches, and 2 can do neither. How many students juggle just torches? So I'm not saying this one necessarily has algebra involved. You just have to read it and figure out where your numbers go. Okay, let's see how you did. So there's 17 kids in class, means that's the universal set. 8 juggled bowling pins, so I'm going to put an 8 just right by that circle. And 2, oh, and 5 do bowling pins and torches. So that means the 5 goes in the intersect. And 2 can do neither. So we know that 2 goes there. So do I know how many just do bowling pins? Just do bowling pins. What would this be? 3, right? Because 3 plus 5 has to give 8. Okay. What I don't know is that. Okay. So, hang on. There are 17 students on the juggling team, 8 juggle bowling pins, 5 do bowling torches, and 2 can do neither. How many juggle just torches? So we're looking for just this bit right here. Okay. So we know then that 3 plus 5 plus x plus 2 has to equal 17, right? If you add up all your bits. So that's 10 plus x equals 17. So how many just do torches? 7. If the question said, how many juggle torches? So if I left off the word just, what would the answer be? 12, right? Because you go 5 plus 7. So one little word like just, completely different answer. So just torches is that little red piece there, looks like a moon. If I say torches, that's the entire circle. So 5 plus 7. Okay. So strongly encourage you to not skim read these questions. Make sure you read every single word. Okay. Okay, so in your workbook, just don't do number 10. So they're just, you don't necessarily need to do all of these. I would do a few of them on your own just to make sure that you're getting this stuff right. But what I wanted to do with you now is just do a 3-circle Venn diagram just to show you where we're going. And then we'll finish this off on Monday. And then the second half of class on Monday, we'll have you do the open book quiz on Venn diagrams. Okay, so it's numbers 1 to 12. Don't do number 10. Okay, number 10 is crazy hard. We don't need to worry about that. So we're going to go on to this. So let me just hand out this visual for you. Okay, so 3 circle Venns just have more words involved. You've just got to kind of keep it just kind of buttoned up. So possibilities in college. Oops, my labels aren't attached. Okay, so possibilities in college. We've got SO for social life, SL for sleeping, and HW for homework. So in the middle here, we've got superhuman, and then we've got failing, exhausted, no life, sleeping, homework, social life. Okay? So this person who is able to do all of them, in other words, they have a social life, they're sleeping, and they're getting their homework done, they are superhuman. Okay? This person is failing. Whoops. This person right here is failing. Why? Because they have a social life and they're sleeping, but they're not doing any homework. Okay? This person has no life. Why? Because they're sleeping, they're doing homework, but they're not having any social life. Do you understand it? So it says, what is the intersection of sleeping and social life? So intersection, remember, is where they both come together. So this is what intersection, this is the symbol for intersection. So sleeping and social life, what is the intersection of sleeping and sleeping social life? It is failing and superhuman. Yep. It's just when it says sleeping and social life, you don't assume that it means and not homework. It's just whatever's overlapping between those two circles. So you simply take the sleeping circle and this circle, and you just list out everything that overlaps. Even if it's part of another circle as well, it doesn't matter. Okay? In order for us to take off the superhuman, it would have to say sleeping and social life and not homework. Right? Okay, union. So the union of social life and homework. So social life is this, homework is that. So union means everything. So you're going to say social life, failing, superhuman, exhausted, homework, no life. All of those are the answers to the union because it's in one circle or both circles. Everything but sleep. Yep. So social life or homework means you have a great social life or you have great homework or both. Right? Or means one or the other or both. So the last question, Kaylee, is what you said. What is the intersection of sleeping, social life? Oh, it's not really. Sleeping, social life, and homework. That is this one right here, which is superhuman. Okay. So we just have to be more careful of our words and understanding whether we're on one circle overlap or two circles overlap or three circle overlap. However, just like the two circle Venns, we always start in the center and then we work our way out. Okay. So if we look at a couple examples or just get through this one. So we're on page 27. So what they've done on this one is they've put all the data values into the diagram for us. So there's two levels of difficulty on the Venn diagram questions. There's the ones like this that are the easy ones where all the data is there, We just have to read the sentence and pull it off. The other type of question is the harder one where we have to put the numbers onto the Venn and then we do the interpret. The hardest level of Venn is where we have to have the X, where we're solving for an equation. Okay, so we're going to go through those 3 levels. So it's a survey of 100 students. So my universal set is 100. Regarding the movies they watched in the last 2 weeks. So P is Perfect Rebel, C is the movie Chill, and D is the movie Dazed. Okay. So we've got all those numbers on there. So it says how many students watched only Perfect Rebel? So which of those numbers matches only Perfect Rebel? 3, yes. So only Perfect Rebel is this part right here. So it doesn't overlap with any of the other circles. How many students watched Perfect Rebel? So watched Perfect Rebel is just in that circle. How many students watched? So 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 6. So that would be 11 students. How many students watched Chill and Dazed? Okay. So Chill and Dazed. So Chill is right here. Dazed is right here. So Chill and Dazed is that part right there. It doesn't matter that the 6 is also part of the other one. It doesn't matter. How many students watched Chill or Dazed? So then you take all the numbers in both circles and add them up. So you'd add up all the numbers in the Chill circle plus the Dazed circle. Now, just to be clear, you don't add these numbers twice. You only add the 6 and the 2 once. Here, what I mean is that some kids in last semester, they were going 68 plus 1 plus 6 plus 2 plus 17 plus 1 plus 6 plus 2, right? They were doing both. And it's like, no, once you've added the 6 and the 2, you don't add it again, okay? And the reason why they're doing that is I didn't tell them not to, right? They heard my word saying add the numbers in each circle, right? So I just didn't clarify that with them. How many students watched all 3? So how many watched all 3? 6. Yeah. Okay. What does the number 2 outside the 3 circles represent? Yeah, they didn't watch any of those 3 movies. Okay. What does the number 2 inside the circle represent? So what does this number right here represent? Right. So they watched only Chill and Dazed. Or you could say they watched Chill and Dazed, but not Perfect Rebel. Okay, so you could say it either way. So you could say they watched only Chill and Dazed. You could also say they watched Chill and Dazed, but not Perfect Rebel. I don't mark spelling, and I don't care how you explain it. If you read it and go, yep, that's exactly it, she can understand that, we're good. Okay. Does that make sense? Just kind of looking at our words here and just paying attention to the language that we use. Unfortunately, in this unit, you can't say, oh, come on, Schnorr, you know what I meant. No, I didn't. Okay. So you got to say what you mean. So we'll pause it here for today, right? Because we've only got probably about a couple minutes left in class. But tomorrow, what we'll do on Monday is we'll just keep doing these 3 circle ones. Okay.